So I'm going to set this Scott spreader to about 14. We're going to just see how that does. Put some of this gypsum on, then we're going to put fertilizer on. Makes the dirt better. Should have done this before I tilled yesterday, Gigi. Well, that one bag went across the entire garden, which tells me I was about half the rate I should have been at, but that's okay. You get a little more even spread anyway by doing 2 passes. On this one, I'm going to start at the far side and work my way back because I didn't have quite enough to end over there, so I want to do a little more. Next, I'm going to use the 13, and we're going to overdo it, but I've been trying to build up the potash and the phosphate for quite a while to ensure that we got good fertility. Nitrogen wise, we'll add more throughout the season, but for starting, you know, by the time I'm done, I'm probably going to be twice the rate what you really need. So it'll be right up around 26% nitrogen, which will be still plenty low. So the next thing we're going to do is put on the peat moss. Definitely with the focus back here in the back, but we'll try to get some of it up here as well. So these are 3 cubic feet bales. All right, so that gets the fertilizer, the gypsum, and the peat moss down. Now I'm going to hit it with the tiller. We're going to see what it looks like. More than likely, I'm going to have to use the tractor to try to level some of this out because I know I've got holes in areas where always going one way, it's got itself worked into a hole. So I need to drop my shield so it maybe churns a little bit more in there. I've got it set to throw back, but I don't think that's what we need for this job. Back on that same pass because I didn't get close enough to these trees over here to get it all tilled. I'm going to try to tuck in a little tighter. Got a ridge where it's been pushed up. I want to try to knock that down. One other thing that I've been wanting to tell people, when you're using a king cutter or any of these tillers that are forward rotation, what I find works well is at the end start lifting up to minimize that divot right at the end, and then you can also kind of throw back some of the dirt off of the grass. So picking up just a bit. I'm over grass right now, but what I'm trying to do is use it to flip the dirt that got carried forward back into the garden. I'd say that tilling yesterday did me a lot of good, trying to get some air down in it. So here, so I don't throw back on the grass, I'm going to go in a ways and drop it The other thing you want to do if you're tilling is keep a good consistent speed, because as you go forward and slower, faster and slower, it'll cause some ridges that you want to avoid. One thing I did do this spring is I tilled 12 straw bales into this garden back in early March, I think. It was from our hay rack ride we did at Halloween. I tilled those in so we would get that organic material, and it's pretty much broken down by now. It's been tilled a few times. This garden was nothing but good old yellow clay when I started with it a few years back. Got my asparagus I got to back up into. It's still definitely a little too wet, but we're running out of time. I've got plants. I bought plants this year, and instead of planting seeds for cucumbers and stuff, I bought cucumber plants because we're way too late. So I need that jump start of about a week jump start with a plant. Tractor's running right now is actually our cable television line that's right under my left front tire, but it's down about 9 inches. I hand dug to find it, so we shouldn't get into it too bad. So you notice there I left a strip on the center. It's because I got to back in this way to the asparagus as well. So I didn't think too much about it. I didn't think too much about it when I planted that asparagus there, because I didn't have a tractor and a tiller. I just had a walk behind. Wasn't a big deal. If I had to do over again, I would have planted next to those arborvitaes. Still cutting some slabs a little bit. So I got a little bit of a hole right here in this corner, but I've got a high hump next to the asparagus. So I'm going to take the front loader bucket and pull back some of that material. Fill in this hole. When I retill, backing in, obviously it's going to take some material from more toward the center of the garden, push it back up toward those asparagus plants, but at least I can fill in some of this hole. We're going to do a half pass over from the edge because the skid was riding up on the sod a bit and holding the tiller out. We don't often plant all the way to the edge anyway, so having it non-perfect will be just fine. Another half pass, or maybe just slightly overlapping. I want to push material back toward the asparagus where I had borrowed. I'll till out my end as we get this done. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Hoosier Helpers. Join us next time when we get out and start planting the tomato plants, pepper plants, green beans, and corn. We are going to be using that John Deere number 71 planter for the corn and the beans. So join us on that next one. Thanks. Bye.